You're not trying to escape.
Try again.
Glory is mine!
Oh, almost. Nice try.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
Well, look what the doc dug up. You're lucky they didn't notice just how thin you were under those bandages. Although, seeing someone wrapped up like that, they probably thought you had the scabbing plague. Heh? Look, laugh, but don't touch. Better keep that hood down, mind you. The living don't take kindly to seeing their future staring back at them.
Playing dead, are you? Probably a good idea.
Oh, where did I leave my calipers? Ah, you're up. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. There. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural.
No, you're alive, and you're having a conversation. You are on a ship, of course. But luckily for us both, we're...
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with... Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know, a new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those source spells of yours? See what happens. Oh, do go on. I won't hold it against you. Promise. My, aren't we a meek little lamb? Perhaps I needn't have collared you at all, though it does look darling on you. So let's just leave it on, shall we? Because, to answer your question, what the collar does is this. It makes you unable to cast. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
No lesions, no trauma. It was bled back magic.
Oh, my, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural. No marks, no indications of a struggle. No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time with others.
Good gods. There's been a murder here.
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. always does. Aren't you enterprising? I'll let Waters tell you no herself. Go ahead. She with the body.
Did the murderer
where did I
take him
leave my
into this room?
calipers?
Or was he already here? No marks, no indications of a struggle.
A young magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass.
Yes, this is a rare kind of magic. I'll need to write to headquarters right away. Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. We'll find out who did this.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Figured as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Thanks. I just want to catch whoever did this before they hurt anyone else. Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here?
Come on, please, Losa.
That's enough.
It was one of them. I know it. You put a knuckle in it. I'm trying to concentrate. They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them. One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one. Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
For me to listen.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice, deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lip.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She looks at you in surprise when you bare an arm of bone.
My. Guess I'll have to find out the memory from Marrow.
Won't have.
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers, watching, staring at. You were thinking of flesh. Or, to be rather more precise, the pleasures of the flesh. Those that have eluded you for so long.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep, so to speak. But don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with. I don't lick and tell.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one. Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up? You think me mad? Mad? Insufferable, surely. I'll tell you if you can keep it
Do you
quiet.
know Losa? She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. I'm here because I'm magic. Are you here because Wow. You're a dragon.
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not at all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with any— What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flat.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we?
Kill our own. They're picking us off one by one. Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You presume right.
Me mad? Mad? Insufferable, surely.
Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear.
Good luck, Chief.
Seriously inquisitive.
You! Sorcerer! Blood!
No!
Go! Oof.
How dare you classify this slop? I've seen more appetizing
Name?
things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
Well, you aren't here on my list. Scrammy. We're trying to catch a killer here.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Majesty more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your... He reaches out and examines your bandages, rubbing them between his fingers.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
They're picking us off one by one. We just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up. You think me mad?
What purpose did that serve? Was that a greeting? Was it... Oh dear. I seem to have crossed some... You have my sincere... Perhaps I should demand the same from those red-cloaked humans. They laid their hands on me more than once.
How dare you classify this...
I do not believe I've been drawn anywhere. It is a quaint little read. but it has its faults. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of the... Tell me, what do you know of our world's history?
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce. It was one of them. I know it's gone. They don't care about us. We're the cattle to them.
Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No. I want to know about the Celestial. This text tells me that they created all creatures. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your questions.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the lad. You faring okay so far?
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
Sorry you're upset, sir, but we all were. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Keep with those bolts
You seem on edge,
and if
officer.
she tries to run,
What on
shoot
earth is
to
the
kill.
matter? You seem on edge, officer.
Murder most
What
foul.
on earth is the matter?
And I strongly suspect you know all about it. Murder most
Do you?
foul. And I strongly
Well,
suspect
perhaps
you
you're
know all about it.
absolutely right. Do you? Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as...
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God! The woman's mad. You there, sorcerer! Go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though.
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
lies in a heap on the floor. She's breathing normally, but her eyes are wide open.
No.
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound.
No, not the final dark. Not yet.
It's no use. Your words do not seem...
The dice roll darkly. They roll...
The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. He is stock still. You can't...
What happened? Must have been the turnips. You dare strike...
The lizard's eyes close as he slips into unconsciousness. Ifan lies motionless, curled on the ground like an animal. Under his shaggy hair, you can see green eyes fluttering as if in a nightmare. A low whine escapes his eyes flicker open, but he doesn't register. Listen. Ifan cries out, then his eyes fall closed again, no matter how much...
Find another way.
Damn, that doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards. Thank the gods! But to find grace...
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reach...
Another sorcerer!
The Magister's companion doesn't blink, frozen in place at the sight of you.
Even if I knew how to rip that thing off, I wouldn't. Some crazy banshee comes screaming through, and now we got four...
He whispers loudly to the other Magister.
Don't just cower there, Rix. Take out your blood.
Rix grabs his sword, which shakes in the rhythm of his trembling hand. Rix looks to his companion, who then looks to you. They drop their hands to their sides.
Go on, then. Find a place to hide and stay there.
What will...
The hound paws desperately at its snout. It winces as it draws blood from its wet black nose and continues scratching. The dog notices you for the first time and snarls. The hairs on its back prickle.
You sorcerer!
It sneezes suddenly and paws at its nose.
Can't smell. Can't breathe. Too much sauce. Too much.
Please, make it stop. Oh.
Sorcerer!
The dog whines and continues pawing at its nose.
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters. God damn it! Need to get off this wreck, and quick! What in blazes? Something's pounding on the hull!
You pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his... The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia.
No. What damn fools record knowledge on... It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist...
The skeleton looks up and notices...
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from...
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to... Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to. I believe you did. Although I was wearing the face of an elf at the time. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take a mask that was stolen by that damned witch. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed, just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book. The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what... You press your palm against the door to open it. Your fingers clack against the wood, and you suddenly feel grey. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow cloud.
Death fog. Good thing I'm immune. Still, this means trouble.
Go on, kid. Climb up there and dig in the rope. Go on, kid. Climb up there and dig in the rope.
You do it.
Shut your trap, kid. Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time to get the hell out of here.
Thank you! There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight down.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear? Had to open your big mouth, didn't you?
You should never leave someone behind.
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking... The Magister lies on the floor.
Wait! Find Woken!
I thought Void Woken was supposed to be scary.
I've faced worse.
They who are about to triumph.
Let the games begin.
These beardless bugs won't sink the ship on my watch.
much time.
Let's not carry. This old tub is about to burst.
Was dead than alive. Let's head above decks for some.
I hear something. It's Magister Siwan.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. With jagged movements, she raises her clenched fist and holds out a length of cloth, soaked with some kind of strong-smelling tincture. Blood quickly soaks through the cloth. Magister Siwan's mouth opens and closes, her eyes wide in terror. It's working. The pressure is stemming the flow of blood. Siwan clutches your arm, her eyes locked with yours. Something within the ship snaps. The floorboards shudder. Siwan struggles to her feet, clinging to you tightly. The ship lets out a deep groan.
Ripping the ship apart! This is it! She's going down!
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Orivan.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? This must be Fort Joy. Voidwoken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn. They've made it to shore.
I know you.
Collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. Drowned and eaten by a Voidwoken. I wonder in which order.
spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist.
I did survive, yes. And chances are I wouldn't have. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Now then, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me. What do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories. Quite so.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against...
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended...
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? The very same. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World Tamer. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent...
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between the grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Truly. A kind offer indeed. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the... Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer. One of our kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. Jolly good. The undead? Like your good self, you mean? Come now, did you really think a handful of linen towels can fool me? But don't worry. I have studied the arcane arts for years, including necromancy and demonology. I do not hold the petty prejudice. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic and, yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards then to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between
Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particular. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further... Black cat. A herald of wisdom in my homeland. How fortuitous.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but it stares at you with...
What? How did I get... Hey, stop following me. Huh? Yeah, fine. I'm fine. I just...
The cat opens his mouth as if to speak, but his eyes lose focus, and with a jerk...
Ooh, that's a pretty one. Hey, mister. It's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? I'm sure glad you went back to save the others. Saw one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. Say hi.
Magister, now speak.
found something. Let's hope this is worth the digging. I thought the Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head.
I'm not supposed to talk to lizards.
The child considers your statement.
You're weird. Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching the shadows cloaking your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes...
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave the island. It's nicer out here than inside, anyway. But you didn't die. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see. I guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary.
Now speak.
I am a proud loyal to the Order. I would not dream of subverting our cause.
Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use.
This can't be serious, Alexander.
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
He hasn't changed a bit. Always late.
Stay silent, lizard!
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
She was a lizard, yet a magister. No matter her reasons, her penalty was fair.
Where is he?